Good morning and welcome from Seb and I to a cold but sunny Monaco, where we're so happy to be welcoming back runners for the annual Monaco Run. We're looking forward to some exciting races here today. Monaco athletics already shines brightly thanks to the Hercules Diamond League, the place to come and run PBs. However, this event is quickly establishing itself as a diamond on the Hercules portfolio of athletics events. There's no mass race this year, but what an elite race we have in store for you. The organisers, with the continued support of His Serene Highness Prince Albert II of Monaco, have put together a spectacular field for this third edition of the Monaco Run 5K. Headed by the world record holder and defending champion Joshua Cheptegei of Uganda, who of course finished his 2020 season in scintillating form with 2 world records over 5,000 and 10,000 metres on the track. Can he improve on his 5K world record here today? Can we see a European record or a French record and many national records? And on the women's side, Beatrice Cheptegei got close to Sifan Hassan in Yerevan on Tuesday night. Can she come close to her world record here today? Sifan Hassan set that world record back in 2019 in the first edition of the Monaco Run 5K, and that record of 14:44 still stands today. In 2020, Joshua Cheptegei came to the Monaco circuit and set it alight with his 12:51 world record, and behind him, Jimmy Gressier of France set a European record and a French record of 13:18. There it is, His Serene Highness Prince Albert getting ready for some exciting racing here this morning. Well, Seb, it's cool, but it'll be, once they're running, I think it's okay, and it's breezy. Mostly the breeze will be at their back, certainly over the second half of the race and the closing stages.
Well, Paula, I was chatting to one of the skippers on one of the boats yesterday, who was saying that called the weather exactly as it was going to be. It was going to be sunny and cool. It's not, 7 degrees is not ideal temperature for peak performance, but I think the weather is not going to be a massive inhibitor today. I think the other point you made, which is really worth reflecting on, is the great support we've had in Monaco, and particularly Prince Albert, for just being there for us. You know, we were the first Diamond League off the tracks last year, and we had the crowd as well, and this is a race that's fast establishing itself.
Yeah, I think they really set the bar last year with the Hercules meet in Stade Louis II, 4 Diamond Leagues restarting again, and the athletes seized that opportunity with a vengeance. We saw some stunning performances that carried on really through that closing part of 2020, and I guess topped off by Cheptegei's world records, over 5,000 metres on the track and 10,000 metres in Valencia. And he is here in good shape, looking to improve on that today. Whether the conditions will transpire against them, I guess we'll see. But I think it's a small field here, just 26 athletes in total gathered here. All have obviously gone through all of the compliance tests and the mandatory COVID tests. But there will, of course, be crowds out on the street watching here in Monaco today and able to cheer them on. Many of those would have liked in previous years to be taking part in this Monaco Run event, which encompasses a mass run as well, which we've taken part in the past, and a lot of the principality comes out and supports that.
You took part. I was sort of a bit more of a bystander that day, Paul. I do seem to remember you about 2 minutes up the course from me. I think the other, look, these are challenging times. The medical protocols we have to adhere to absolutely rigorously, because it's not just actually about protecting the athletes, as important as that is. It's also, we mustn't ever forget we're putting these events in local communities, and we have a responsibility to make sure that this is the first. I have to say, it's the first time I've actually commentated with a mask on. You could say I have a face for radio anyway.
It does make it a little bit more challenging. As you say, I think we're all making sacrifices at the moment to try and get this as safely as possible and move through this pandemic. So a quick look at the course now. We start down Here on the Port Hercule, they run alongside the big boats, up past the yacht club, through the Monaco tunnel and out onto Avenue Princess Grace, where they'll go past the Grimaldi Forum there, behind the Larvotto beaches, and continue out as far as the Monte Carlo Bay Hotel, where they'll go around the roundabout and then pretty much retrace their steps back along Avenue Princess Grace, up into the famous Monte Carlo tunnel, and from here on in it's sheltered and pretty much downhill, back through the tunnel, past the yacht club again, and then just a very small incline on that corner there, up onto the top promenade here on the Port Hercule, and straight into the finish.
It's a fast course.
It is. It's a fast, relatively flat course. We saw last year with Cheptegei just how fast it can be. It is 7 degrees. It is breezy, but I think a lot of this course is well sheltered.
It is. It actually forms the part. I was going to probably be charitable and describe it as a morning run, but my morning shuffle now. And that little roundabout at the turnaround point is quite tight. It's not. There's not a lot of room for manoeuvre there.
No, and that was a quick look there at the start list, passing up, headed of course by Joshua Cheptegei, Egida, also there Bethwell Bergen, who we've been told will attempt to go with Joshua Cheptegei this morning.
Good luck.
Murad Hamdouni will be shooting for that European record and French record as well. And on the women's side, headed by Beatrice Chepkoech, Meraf Bata is also back racing again. We have Alice Finot, ran a personal best indoors on her birthday earlier this week, and a contingent of young French women there and women in good shape.
I think you're right. It's quite hard to look beyond Cheptegei. I actually feel quite privileged. I have the best job, as you know, in the world as president of World Athletics. I was in Kampala in 2017 for the World Cross, where it wasn't the beginning of the Odyssey, but we forget he was running incredibly well even in 2003 in Paris at the World Championships. But it was where he led the field for pretty much most of the race, and in front of an adoring home crowd. It all sort of unravelled over the last couple of kilometre and a half, but he had almost the perfect season last year, save the it's a critical analysis, but his 4th place in Gdynia in the World Half would have probably disappointed him given what he'd done for the rest of the season. But it was almost the Grand Slam, wasn't it?
It was. I totally agree with you. I think that race in Kampala was the turning point for him as they get underway out there today. We see them head. You can see just how strong the wind is with the Monaco flags up above there. But once they turn, they will have some more shelter as they move alongside the big boats. They will have a slight drop down now at the first corner. And we'll see some jostling for position in the beginning, and then I think we'll see them settling maybe into single file behind the king himself on the roads at the moment, Cheptegei.
You don't actually need to see any split times yet to know that that field has gone off with intent, hasn't it?
Yes, I think when you are aiming to get in the realms of sub-13-minute racing on the road, you have to start off from the beginning and you have to attack hard. That is that small drop, which of course they will come back up in reverse in the closing stages. That is Davis Kiplagat alongside Cheptegei at the moment. Further back behind, we can just catch a glimpse of the leading women. I can see Beatrice Chepkoech there. She is being paced by Luc Maas of the Netherlands, and he will try and shelter her from a little bit of the wind, but certainly accompany her and keep her on pace as much as possible as she aims. I think that world record, women's only, of Sifan Hassan 14:44 is a tough ass. 14:48 is actually the mixed race record, which may be more within her sights.
Well, Paula, courtesy of your wonderful briefing notes you gave me last night, I didn't actually realise that she was coached by Bram Som, who's a good, very good quality 800-metre runner who actually I competed against on a few occasions.
Yeah, I think he's in the past also been very, very well known for his excellent pacemaking duties around the circuit, but yes, does coach Beatrice. I think was talking in light of the conditions today, in light of where the prevailing wind is, possibly setting out slightly quicker over the first half to enable her to be able to coast and recover a little bit when the wind is at her back in the second half. There she is, just heading into the tunnels.
Formula One fans will know exactly where this field is at this moment.
And they will take advantage of the shelter, I think, through the tunnel to just spread out across the road a little bit.
And the rise in temperature, I would guess.
There is Mourad Amdouni, Bethwell Birgen as well, slotted into the centre. Little known fact that we learned about him is that he's actually one of three brothers, and his brothers encompass a 2:04 marathon runner in Bernard Koech and Enoch Koech, 3:31 1500 metre runner, who also won the 2001 short course World Cross Country title.
I wonder who gets the bragging rights when they all meet up for occasional suppers and breakfasts.
Be a little bit like dinner at the Ingebrigtsens, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Without the cameras.
We are just waiting for the first split to come up. For the first kilometre, they should have gone through. That hasn't yet come up on our screens, I'm afraid. There we go, 2:41 through the first kilometre. So I guess we would expect that one. We're looking, incidentally, for an attack on the world record on the roads, for it to be averaging between 2:33, 2:34 per kilometre. So a little bit outside of that, but it did include the uphill rise, and the second kilometre will, I'm sure, be much quicker.
And we shouldn't gloss over the fact it is pretty blustery out there as well. They're going to get dip. Now, Monaco's an interesting place because you get a lot of wind tunnelling effect between the high rise. So there'll be elements of this where the conditions are quite benign, and then suddenly they're going to they'll hit pockets that they're going to have to really work hard in.
Absolutely, the wind can buffet, and it is coming off the sea here today. So if Mourad Amdouni looks out across the water, he won't be doing that, but he will see his native Corsica, where he was in fact born, just across the water there, and that wind can sweep straight in. But because of the building work that they're doing along the Larvotto beachfront here, those screens and shelters will in fact help them a lot, and you can see them tucking in closely to those boards. So the view might not be as nice, but I think they will appreciate those boards being there this morning. Beatrix Chepkoech went through in 2:54 for her first kilometre. There are the kilometre splits up on the screen now.
Cheptegei's got such a nice, easy style, hasn't he? And his arms are held well. He's got a nice, relaxed stride length. You can see he's working a little harder than normal.
Yeah, he's tucked into it. There is Meraf Bata on the women's side as well, returning from her 1 year out, and has come back racing well so far this year. She did record a 5K national record run on the roads. Sweep down now. Again, they've passed, I guess, the worst bit of exposure to the wind here, and they drop back in front of the Meridian Hotel and are approaching the turnabout point.
It's where we have all our World Athletics Council meetings.
And through 2 kilometres, they went through in 5:22. So again, pace just around about that 13:20 mark, so a little bit slower, and obviously deciding that conditions are chilly, and they're going to try and do their faster running in the second half of this course. Still a reasonable pack there as well, which will be working together and helping each other. Meraf Bata is out on her own. She is a little bit in no man's land. She's behind Chepkoech and ahead of the next group of women, which you can see behind. Around the roundabout and back alongside the opposite carriageway, along the Avenue Princess Grace, and back on the home stretch now, if you like, back towards us here in the Port Écume.
Well, they all successfully navigated the roundabout.
think it's tight, but given some of the hairpin bends that we can see, it's not too bad.
This is where he's now beginning to stretch that field.
Yeah, you can see.
Which was inevitable given the nature of the course conditions today.
Yeah, it's almost like he literally took the roundabout as a turning point in the race and has injected some pace, which we'll get an idea of once they get through the 3 kilometre mark. But Bergen and Kip Langen have gone with him. You can see Amdouni further back down the road, struggling to stay with him.
This will be an uncomfortable few minutes for anybody following Cheptegei now.
You can see the sun not quite reaching them. They're tucked into the shadows just to take advantage of that shelter. He's just adjusting. Oh no, he's removing his arm sleeve. The pace is warming up, but he's also warming up. They're through 3 kilometres in 7:59. Accelerating down from that.
Clearly picked up the pace.
13:20, but I think we're going to see further accelerations there. I'm not sure we're going to see him able to get back close to that 12:51. Keep a close eye on Amdouni behind though, because he is within reach of that 13:18 mark of European record. There is Meraf Barter. Ahead of her is Beatrix Chepkoech. Just having a look to see if she has not yet gone through the 3 kilometre marker, but must be very, very close to it. Around about 8:54, which does see her. She is within reach of that world record of Sifan Hassan.
Yes, she is actually much significantly closer to it than the men at the moment, pace for pace.
That is her pacemaker. I haven't actually seen her go through that marker, but I'm assuming they're still running together. And there is Alice Finot of France, who ran on her birthday a huge PB indoors in Liévin on Tuesday night of 8:53.
Some of those performances in Liévin that night were really absolutely top draw, and just shows the quality and fortitude the athletes have shown to remain in such great form under such challenging circumstances.
Yes, I mean, I think they have to keep focused very much on the Olympics later this year, and very much hoping that will still go ahead, coming out and seizing the opportunity to race. I'm actually not sure that Chepkoech is in there. Luc Mars now appears to be running on his own, and I think Meraf Barter is actually leading the women's race here today. She went through 3 kilometres in 9:35, so she is also, I guess, struggling in the wind over those first 3 kilometres of this race, but is clear of Alice Finot in second place in the women's race. Cheptegei still can't quite shake that duo of Kip Langen and Bergen settled in behind him, and you can see Mourad Amdouni alongside the bike behind, trying to keep them inside and just to hang on to the coattails, if you like, of this leading trio.
I think just a couple of swift glances behind. I don't sense that they were glances of nervousness. I just think he was trying to figure out just how much daylight he'd got, and he's beginning to create that now.
I think so, and I think we'll get a chance to ask him afterwards, but I think he's realised that a world record in these conditions wasn't really on the cards, and what is important is that he wins the race here today and wins it convincingly, and that is the split through 4 kilometres, 10:38 there. So yeah, he's still around about the same pace at 13 minutes. You can see down this hill here is a good opportunity to pick up pace, as Meraf Barter leading the women's race is just coming into that Monte Carlo tunnel, so famous from, as you said, the Monaco Grand Prix racing, but is also welcome when you're running to be able to get a little bit of shelter through there.
It's majestic running from Cheptegei at this point.
You can see just
Beautiful
the
stride length.
ease with which he covers the ground and almost bounces there. The other two working hard to try and stay with him and probably have stayed closer than they might have anticipated, but he will sweep back alongside. It was a little bit of a glance at his watch, be alongside the big boats up this very steep but short rise by Cafe Milano there, and we'll sweep onto the promenade, if you like, here in the Boricule, and a straight run into the finish where we can see him and are waiting for him.
He'll be very, very satisfied with this performance. It's not a record. I don't think he probably realised very early on that was unlikely to happen. But he'll come out of here feeling very confident for the rest of the season.
And he's not too far off in the end with the speed that he's picked up over those closing stages. I'm looking to see if we can see him. We will see him pass under the red arch they started on, and now down onto the carpet and towards the finishing straight here. Here he comes. And 39, 10 across the line there. Followed by Bergen in second place, Tamkoun, and Amdouni did cross the line under the European record and in a French record time there. I think we will wait for confirmation of that. I am actually seeing Beatrix Chepkoech pass through 4 kilometers on our screen, so I apologize for the confusion. We haven't seen anything of her actually on the screens. We are watching Meraf Bata run down the hill now into the finishing. So she's inside the final kilometer, and I'm just trying to watch in front as well to see if there is Michiels crossing the line. Rafael Montoya.
Et Abdelatif Iguider, le Marocain.
Iguida has just finished. I mean, that was, I think, a cold and disappointing run from him, as we are watching Meraf Bata alongside the boats, and she will come up again up that rise. At the same time, Seb, if you can keep a watch to see if Beatrix Chepkoech is in the race. I think she is there. Yes, she is coming down the finishing straight, so apologies for that. She now comes down the straight alongside Luke Mars and will cross the line in 14:40, so that is actually
very fast,
an outright world record. She takes down Sifan Hassan's world record set here in 2019. I really can only apologise for the confusion there. She wasn't appearing on the splits and wasn't picked up as the leading woman. So Meraf Bata is in second place, and we're waiting for her to finish now. But that was a stunning run alongside from Beatrice Chepkoech alongside her pacemaker Luke Mars. She was in fact in the race all the time, returning to her hunting ground where she set the world record of over 3,000 metre steeplechase, of course, here in 2018 in the Hercules Diamond League, and now backs that up with a world record on the roads over 5 kilometres. So yet again, the Monaco 5 kilometre run does not disappoint, sets a world record.
The Monaco magic.
Here is Meraf Bata in second place, coming into the finishing straight, and she will finish with a strong time, not quite a personal best or a national record, but closely followed by Alice Fino. That will be a personal best for her. And behind her, that was Nina Lauvat. Finishing, Alexa Lemitre. And Aude Clavier coming in to finish now. This is Agnes Mittig of Switzerland. She's an under 20 coming in to finish dual nationality with Great Britain and running for the Geneva Club. And you can see on these women, it really has taken it out of them here today. But some excellent racing, and again, a world record on the streets of Monaco.
I have to say, for somebody who really hated racing much before 10 o'clock at night, I really do take my hat off to the guys because, you know, people tend to forget this is not just a 10 o'clock race. This is maybe a 4, even 5 o'clock start in the morning to get the right kind of nutrition in. And
yeah, I think particularly for the marathons that would be so. For the 5K, they can maybe get away with it a little bit more. They have been brought in and stayed in a hotel. Just, I guess, they had a short bus ride over. It would only be a 5-minute jog over to this starting area. But there they are. World records already wrapped up this morning, and it's not yet 10:30 in the morning.
Good start to the day.
Quick results sheets that we've missed going through there. Came through, and we see that 14:44, so she's actually, it's been rounded up a little bit. She has equaled that world record of Sifan Hassan. 15:46 for Meraf Bata behind Alice Finot. 15:52 personal best. Nina Lauvert of Belgium. 15:58 Alexa Lemitre, Aude Clavier 16:07 and 16:15, and Agnes McTeague 16:29 in 7th place, rounded out in 8th position by Melody Julien.
I think when we analyse these times over the next hour or two, I think we'll find quite a cluster of personal bests there too.
Yes, I think it was more difficult. I'm just going to move down now to have a word with the elite athletes. Yes, just about. So I am joined here by His Serene Highness Prince Albert II of Monaco. Thank you so much for your support in helping to put on this racing here today. What did you think?
Well, Paula, thank you. It's a beautiful day. A bit windy, but no. But I think we had some great performances, and I really thank the athletes for being here. And I think it was important to show that we can still have top-level athletic events here in Monaco, but also as a showcase to the world. And it's really wonderful that this could take place at this time.
Absolutely and completely agree. I think the Hercules meeting last year already showed and the athletes came and seized that opportunity and raced so well. And yet again this morning in difficult cold conditions for Monaco, we saw an outstanding performance from Joshua Cheptegei, a dominant performance from him in around about 13:10, and an equaling of the world record by Beatrice Chepkoech on the women's side. She equaled that record of Sifan Hassan set here in 2019. So the Monaco run 5 kilometers Hercules is quickly establishing itself as the place to come and run fast, and I think the athletes have certainly seized that opportunity today.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Ainsi, donc dans quelques minutes, nous allons accueillir les vainqueurs de cette troisième 5 km Hercules organisée par la Fédération monégasque d'athlétisme, placée sous la haute présidence.
It was really a good race, but the wind was incredibly difficult to break.
We could see that it was very, very also cold out there for you racing today. We saw you drop the gloves and then the arm sleeves, so you were ready to pick up the pace in the final kilometer, really.
Yeah, I just knew that I have to, run the best way I used to always run, and I didn't want something to distract me, especially with the gloves, and something small can distract your motivation and your mindset. So I just wanted to just run and defend the title.
And what is next for you now? Where will you go from here?
For now, it's a kind of starting the season, so I hope that more events are happening in the season, especially with the March and the April, and then I will prepare for the track season.
Okay, so preparing now for Tokyo and for the Olympics.
Absolutely, Tokyo is it's going to be a phenomenal challenge for me. I expect to, this year to become great like last year, or even more great than last year.
And will we see you racing before then on the circuit, going after fast times, or saving that until afterwards?
We are not sure of events, especially the Diamond Leagues. But you never know, I could still run faster in 5,000 meters, maybe 3,000 meters, so anything is possible, depending on the opportunities of the track, events.
And how has it been training for you? Have you been able to prepare well in these circumstances? Are you able to train as normal?
Well, prior to Monaco, I just had 1 month of preparation, because after the World Championships half marathon in Poland, I was able to take 6 weeks break and then resume. So that means that I only had 1 month of ideal preparation. So, but feels good. I'm happy to have won the title again today.
Thank you. And I'm just looking to see. Thank you very much and congratulations, Joshua. We'll see you next year.